Welcome back to the Kingdom Wayfinder. Today we're going to be talking about a pretty spicy, hot topic. A real nice opinion of mine that I'm sure a lot of people share, or at least some people share, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people share. I know that a lot of people are vocal about this on Twitter, and I am of the same opinion just as everybody else, so let's just get right into it. So basically, if you don't know, in the past couple of years, there's obviously been more Crash rather than Spyro, and understandably so. You know, after Reignited Trilogy, we had CTR Nitro Fueled, and then we had Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and then if you also want to count Crash on the Run, you can count that too, even though it's a mobile game. But one thing that all three of those games I just listed had in common is one thing. Spyro being a guest character or just a simple cameo appearance. Basically a simple cameo appearance in Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time with the Spyro floaty and the Spyro parade float that is in Offbeat. But with that being said, in Crash 4, obviously it's just a harmless little reference, but then CTR Nitro Fueled, you of course had Spyro be a major part of that because he was literally a guest character. He had his own Grand Prix and everything, even though the Grand Prix did not focus on Spyro all too much. And then you had Spyro in Crash on the Run, and yeah, we don't talk about Spyro and Crash on the Run. Anyways, with that being said, I want to talk about the pattern I've been noticing with Spyro, and it's not the fact of the matter that it's more Crash than Spyro. It's the fact of the matter that Spyro is now just subjected as a Crash Bandicoot cameo character and nothing more. Like literally nothing more. Like the false narrative that people were trying to put onto Skylanders, saying Spyro's nothing but you know, just a side character in that game, even though he got lots of attention in Spyro's Adventure and in Giants to an extent, and especially in Imaginators and in Academy, him being the main character, and then also the comics. The narrative that people used against Skylanders, that false narrative, is literally true within the Crash Bandicoot series, and I want to explain why this is a bad thing. I want to talk about how this literally needs to stop. So it's getting to a point now where Spyro fans are very, very frustrated with how, oh, there's Spyro, we got a new look of Spyro, or we got something of Spyro, but it's just a cameo in the latest Crash Bandicoot's release, or something Crash. It's not really anything to do with Spyro anymore. Like, there's nothing, there's no game for Spyro. It's just throw him into a Crash game and call it a day. And like the thing is, and this is kind of why my video from about a year ago is a little bit outdated, which was talking about an actual Crash and Spyro crossover game. I don't want that anymore. After Spyro and Crash on the Run, which really soured my taste on Crash and Spyro crossing over, I really don't want that anymore. I'm very sick and tired of these two franchises always crossing over. I feel like it's very limited. If you really want to do genuine video game crossovers and collabs with other companies or other video game characters, I genuinely think Activision needs to put their priorities elsewhere and have both of these franchises respectively cross over elsewhere. And what I mean is that Crash Bandicoot crossover with another franchise. Stop making it just Spyro. This is why I think this narrative needs to be put out there that the Crash and Spyro crossovers need to end. They stopped being special a long time ago. Like, again, when it finally happened way back in the early to mid 2000s with the GBA games, primarily Spyro Orange and Crash Purple, those games weren't that great, but it was still cool to finally see them cross over. It was nice. And then, you know, we had a little nod, it was a little joke with Spyro and Twinsanity that was kind of funny and cute. And then, of course, after that, there was nothing. Like, there was, well, no, there was Crash being frozen in ice in I think it was it A New Beginning? It was either A New Beginning or Eternal Night. I think it was Eternal Night. But with that being said, the point is that then after that, but at that point, it was just little cute cameos, nothing nothing like major. No, they weren't making anything out of it. It was just like a blink and you'll miss sort of thing, right? Which is fine. A lot of series do that. And then we didn't have an actual crossover genuinely until Skylanders Imaginators, with Crash being in Imaginators as a sensei with Cortex, and then Thumpa Wumpa Islands being a level, and Spyro being in that level with Mags, you know, and they're part of the narrative and everything, and it was really cool. I really liked it, and I still like it to this day. That was a great crossover. I really loved that. But then you go into everything else after that. You have Spyro and CTR that they completely dropped the ball on, because as we all know, the Spyro and Friends Grand Prix is deemed objectively the worst Grand Prix solely because of the fact that it doesn't focus on Spyro all too much. Like, yeah, you have Spyro, Nasty Nork, and Hunter, but then when you look into the game files, especially if you're back into the CTR hype days, you would know that before the Spyro and Friends Grand Prix was even revealed, we were all expecting Ripto and the Sorceress to be a part of that too, but for some reason they got cut out by the time the Grand Prix was announced, and we were all disappointed about that. But even beyond the first, I can't remember what it's called, but beyond the first bar of unlocking items within the Grand Prix, after you get Spyro, it doesn't focus on Spyro anymore. Like, it doesn't. There's no legendary skin for Spyro. There's nothing. It just focuses on Crash of the Titans skins, which makes no sense. While those skins are very cool, they don't represent Spyro. That's not the Grand Prix that you should have put them in. And some of the other skins kind of just don't make sense to an extent. Like, some of them do, like Komodo Joe's Wizard skin made sense, yeah. Then the Polar Viking skin made sense to an extent, but you really had to know about your Spyro 1 development lore, and then that the Viking was originally going to be the original balloonist, but a lot of people don't know that, so it's kind of you know what I mean? And it was just a very underwhelming Grand Prix. And then, you know, we had Spyro and Crash 4, which again, it was doing the blink and you'll miss sort of Easter eggs, which that one's a little more really blink and you'll miss it. But you kind of won't miss it kind of thing. But it wasn't like he was an actual character in the game. No, he wasn't physically there. It was just floaties of him. And then Crash on the Run really messed everything up with Dark Spyro, making it a separate entity, with the way the Grand Prix was, not the Grand Prix, the way the crossover event was done. It just became very clear that Spyro was just subjected to being a Crash Bandicoot guest character, and it sucks, and a lot of us don't like that, and I'm really tired of Crash and Spyro crossing over. I really think that these franchises need to stop doing that. I feel like it's lack of originality, so to speak, and that it needs to stop. It just really needs to stop. If you want to do a crossover with Crash Bandicoot, go have Crash crossover with Sega and put Sonic in a Crash game or something like that. Like, go collab with Sega and do a Crash and Sonic crossover, because that actually makes sense and would be very cool. I'm just saying, I'm putting that out there. So it's pretty much it. Like, I just really think that the Crash and Spyro crossovers really need to stop. And if not fully stop, just take a really long break. And if not take a really long break and you do stop those altogether, have Crash or Spyro crossover with other series. For the love of video games, please just do it. Just stop doing the same thing over and over. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of these endless crossovers that are getting worse and worse by the minute. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one.